If you have an Insta360 GO 3S for vlogging, you probably already know how low-key and versatile this little camera is. But chances are, most people are just using it as regular camera, meaning they don't really go past this exact setup. And I totally get that, because if you're anything like me, the idea of pulling out a camera in public or even asking someone to record you, they're already uncomfortable enough, let alone trying to use a ton of gear with it as well. That is exactly why choosing the right camera and accessories matter so much, because they can turn your vlogging experience from being nerve-wracking to actually fun. So whether you're a shy vlogger, solo creator, or just want to keep things minimal, this video is for you. Hi! My name is Laura. I've been documenting my life here on YouTube for several years, and I've been vlogging with Insta360 GO 3S as my go-to low-key creative camera for over a year now. This tiny camera has changed the game for me. I posted a video comparing the GO 3S and the Osmo Pocket 3 a month ago, and I just want to say thank you for everyone who watched and left such encouraging comments. It honestly means the world to me. And so, as many of you requested, today I'm breaking down the accessories for Insta360 GO 3S that make my vlogging seamless, efficient, and still super low-key. I'll show you which one I use most, how I actually use them in real life, share the best camera settings for vlogging, and give you some creative shooting tips I've picked up along the way. Quick transparency note, this video is sponsored by Insta360. I bought the GO 3S in the standard bundle and a couple of accessories myself, but for this breakdown, Insta360 kindly sent over a few more accessories for me to play around with. I'll show you which ones are genuinely useful for daily vlogging, and spoiler alert, 2 of them are becoming my absolute favorite. I'll reveal that later. And by the way, this video is gonna be a bit long, so I've broken it down into a few chapters. Feel free to jump into specific accessories using the timestamps below. So, without further ado, let's start with the main accessories. The GO 3S Standard Bundle currently costs $399 for the 64GB and $430 for the 128GB. I chose the latter because I could never have enough memory. With the bundle, you get the standalone camera, action pod, magnetic pendant, easy clip, and pivot stand, which for the price, it's genuinely a great deal. You can buy the camera and the pod separately if you want, but after calculating the price, getting them individually is actually costing more than getting them in the bundle, so getting the bundle is definitely better for your money. Now, here's the deal. The first 10 people using my code, they're gonna get 10% off and also a free accessory. So I feel like if you want to get the bundle, this is the perfect timing, but do watch the video until the end and then let me know what you'll end up choosing after. Now, here's my question. What's the one thing that stops you from pressing the record button when there's a moment that you really want to capture? If your answer is, I feel like it's too much effort, I think the first accessory might help solve that problem. The first accessory you'll find in the bundle is this magnetic pendant. And honestly, this might be the most important piece for anyone who feels self-conscious about filming. This little accessory is your key to hands-free POV shots, and I'd call it as far as a must-have for shy creators. The best way to use it is tucked under your shirt. It's more secure that way, and more importantly, it's almost completely invisible. You just simply tap the camera once, wait for the red light to blink, and you're recording. The magnet is incredibly strong, so whether you're walking or even running, your camera stays put. I wore this during my walks through Kyoto when I visited Japan a couple of months ago. I just clipped it to my shirt, turned it on, and let it run without overthinking the shot. The result? Not only I could stay present in the moment, but it also captured my short and sweet interaction with a local cat, which was something I definitely wouldn't have gotten if I didn't set the camera in the first place. Another way I love using this pendant is for what I call the follow me shot. You can do this with anyone without giving complicated instructions, because let's be honest, it's already hard enough to ask someone to help you film, let alone to give them a whole brief. The thought alone is already giving me anxiety. But anyway, this is how I do it. You just put the pendant around their neck, clip the camera onto their shirt. You can check the composition on the pod or hand it to them so they can see what they're shooting. And lastly, just give them one simple instruction. Please keep your chest pointing towards me. And that's it. I love this setup when exploring markets, museums, or events because it captures both the feeling and the ambience without anyone feeling like they're doing too much. Now, pro tip for fellow introverts, you can actually adjust the indicator light in the settings. The default is that blinking red light, but you can dim it to medium, low, or turn it off completely to avoid drawing attention. But the catch, when you turn the indicator off and you want to record, this is what you need to know. If you have the pod with you and it's on, when you press the camera to record, it'll just start recording straight away, no indicator whatsoever. And when you finish recording while the pod is still on, you'll feel a slight vibration on the pod. Now, when the pod is off, when you press the camera to record, the only way to know that you're recording is that first blinking blue light on the camera. But when you press it once again to stop recording, there won't be any light or vibration both in the camera or in the pod, unfortunately. So I guess I just need to tell you this because it can get a little bit confusing to know whether you're recording or not when you're turning off the indicator light. I wish when the light settings turned off, the camera would at least vibrate briefly when it starts recording and maybe vibrate longer when it stops. Unfortunately, that's not how it works right now, but at least if you want the option to be very stealthy, it's there. One thing you need to watch out if you're using this pendant though, especially if you have a long hair like mine, just make sure it doesn't go in front of the lens. I learned this the hard way when I played back the footage, and not only could I barely see anything, but there was this distracting friction noise throughout as well. Not cute. Now, before we move on to the next accessory, let me share the camera settings that actually make your footage look good. I get asked about this constantly in the comments, so here are my prep and my go-to settings that works best for me. Number 1, lighting is everything. This camera absolutely shines outdoors when the sun is out. It thrives with lots and lots of natural light. So if you're shooting and find the footage a bit grainy, check your source of light. It might not be enough. Number 2, always clean your lens before shooting. Please make this a habit, not only for this camera, but for every camera. Because when the lens is dirty, it will make your footage look blurry. And nothing more deflating than reviewing footage that could have been great and you can't go back because the moment is already lost. Last but not least, stick with auto settings. I've tested everything, and even though this kind of goes against my own rules when it comes to filming, but the auto settings just gives the most consistently good results. Here's my exact setup. I use the video mode with 4K quality and 30 frames per second. For stabilization, I just choose to max. And if you go to the right here, I chose no filter, set the EV to 0. The metering, I choose face if I'm going to show my face or someone else's face. The jitter blur reduction always on, sharpness in low, and auto white balance. This might trigger some people, but if you're not going to color grade your footage, this works just fine. Do remember, this camera is best at filming effortlessly, not necessarily cinematic masterpiece, so choose your battles accordingly. Okay, the second bundled accessory is the Easy Clip. This accessory is perfect for those elevated forehead angle POV shots when you want to film from a higher perspective. I love that this part is adjustable so you can fine-tune the angle perfectly. I've seen people put this on their kids, which is super adorable, but I'll be completely honest, clipping this onto a head is not super low-key for me at all. So this isn't something that I'd want to use in public spaces, but instead, I would use it at home when I want that specific POV angle, like when I'm typing on my keyboard, reading a book I want to show, or during meals when I want to capture the experience from above. And here's a creative hack I found out. The back of the clip that has a silicone texture, it's a friction grip that works super well with the magnetic pendant. This is not magnetic, so it won't work if you stick it onto metal surfaces, but it sort of works with anything magnetic. So when I want a chest level shot with a slightly different angle, I just attach the easy clip to the pendant for a closer, more tilted view. I especially love this setup when I'm making coffee. It gives me this perfect angled perspective where you can really see exactly how I pour coffee or latte art from my point of view. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the clip mechanism itself. You kind of have to pry it open with your fingers and hope that it won't pinch you. I really wish it had some kind of handle or a grip, because especially if you have longer nails or extensions, I think it's kind of almost impossible to open it. But with that said, I still love having it around when the moments call for it. Now, if you love the easy clip concept, there's actually an upgraded version of it, which is called the pivot clip. But this is sold separately, not in the bundle. The pivot clip still uses the same pinch to open mechanism and has the friction grip on the back for use with the magnetic pendant. The upgrade is in the clip size. It's slightly deeper and more of a compact rectangular instead of the long rounded edges shape. It also has a much bigger tilting range than the easy clip, but the biggest difference is the pivot clip can rotate the camera both vertically and horizontally. Let me give you an example. If you clip the camera onto your sling bag, the easy clip only shoots vertically, and the view gets a bit crooked since sling bags sit diagonally. With the pivot clip though, you can adjust the angle to make it straight, and you have the flexibility to switch to horizontal mode too. This also great for attaching to backpack straps. I've even tried to mount it to the phone holders on a bike, and it held securely even through bumpy rides. So if you like experimenting with different angles or want something compact, this is definitely fun to have in your kit. There's only one important thing to know. If you use the clip only for that forehead toddler shot, then stick with the easy clip, because sadly the pivot clip can't really tilt inward when you clip it onto a head. So I guess this two has slightly different purposes then. Now, the last bundled accessory is the pivot stand, and this thing opens up so many creative possibilities. Of course, you already know the GO 3S is magnetic, so you can stick it to any metal surface, but when you want to mount it literally anywhere else, this becomes your best friend. It's a simple two-piece setup, a sticky base that attaches to almost any surface, say walls, mirrors, cabinet, windows, and the other is the ball joint mount with a magnetic latch that holds your GO 3S securely while you can adjust the angle however you want. It also has the standard 1/4 inch mount if you ever want to use it with any traditional tripod. Basically, you combine this together, it's honestly incredibly sturdy. And now you can capture footage from places other cameras simply just can't reach. This is where things get exciting for creators who love creative shots. You want to record from the top corner of your room? My tallest tripod maxes out about this height. But with this, I can just stick it on the wall and get that perfect overhead angle. If you want to record a top-down shot, you can definitely stick the pivot stand to the ceiling and you're good to go. Another way I love using this is when I'm in a coffee shop and I want to shoot without drawing much attention. I just use the pivot stand on the table and no one even noticed that I'm recording. And lastly, if you want to get that grocery shopping shot, just stick the pivot stand on any possible surface and you'll get your shot. Easy. The possibilities with these two feel almost endless, but there's only one non-negotiable requirement. This part has to be really clean to stick properly. I get questioned about this a few times, and I'm sorry to break it to you, but there's simply no way around it. No negotiating it. If you want your camera to stay safe, the sticky base has to be spotless. The good news is this is very simple to maintain. If you want to clean it, just run it underwater, and you can use your finger to wipe off any dust. I found warm water works best, but room temperature water works well too. But Laura, what if I'm somewhere without any water excess? If that's the case, then you can use wet wipes to remove debris in a pinch. I kinda like these options because it also dries out quicker. But just watch out for towel fibers because it also counts as debris and can possibly weaken its stickiness. Now, I've tested this on different surfaces. It works amazingly on matte painted walls, though be careful when removing it. It might take some paint with it. It also works with flat glass or mirrors, laminated surfaces, smooth clean plastic, and textured tiles. This doesn't hold well in lacquered woods, like this kitchen island top. It'll stick, but it won't hold for long, so use caution there. And obviously, anything dirty, dusty, or rusty is a no-go. Okay, we're finally done with the bundled accessories. Now, if you want to know what's the one accessory that changed the game for me, it's this pocket Flexi Mount. This one is sold separately on the website, but this is hands down my absolute favorite out of the entire bunch. This is a mount that lets you tilt your Go Trieste in every direction when it's attached to magnetic or stainless steel surfaces. But here's the brilliant part. Open it up, peel this part off, and it reveals a sticky surface that works on non-metal surfaces too. Basically, it's like the pivot stand, but better, at least for me. First of all, it's much more compact and versatile. I tested the sticky side against the pivot stand across all surfaces, and they actually have similar holding strength. And since it's magnetic, I can use this on the Pendant too. So if I want that tilted chest level view I showed you earlier with the easy clip, I can achieve the same thing with this mount. Another way I love to use this mount is when I want that tilt angle from the table. I usually struggle with this a lot since the body camera, also the pod, is pretty smooth, so it doesn't really have a grip when I put it on the table and I want to tilt it. But now, by using the Pocket Flexi Mount, it's totally possible and it's incredible. I personally don't typically use tripods when using this camera, and I also don't do the forehead angle shot as well. So this single accessory effectively replaces the pivot stand and the easy clip for my style of creating. And if you're someone who likes experimenting with angles but also wants to keep your kit minimal, the Pocket Flexi Mount might be your next favorite item too. Okay, now let's talk about some of the additional accessories that I think it's really worth considering. All of these you can get from the Insta360 website, by the way, and shout out to them because I feel like the collection of accessories that they have for their cameras are really big. And in this video, I'm only covering what accessories are good for vlogging, but if you go onto their website, they have option for literally almost everything. So yeah, go check them out. The very first accessory I bought separately was this ND filter set. If you're someone who uses manual settings or likes fine-tuning your exposure, this could be essential. For those unfamiliar, ND filters are basically sunglasses for your camera. They reduce the amount of light hitting the lens to keep your footage looking smooth, especially in bright sunlight. This is really important if you're someone who loves having creative control. Using these filters actually make a huge difference when you're shooting on manual settings on a super sunny day. The set includes 4 different ND levels, so you can choose the right amount of light reduction for your environment. To give you guys a better context, this is what the footage look like under the bright sunlight. It's blindingly bright at the moment, but the auto setting does a pretty good job in managing the light. The compromise is in the motion blur. So if I wave my hand like this, you cannot really see the motion blur in between my fingers. That's not really natural to the eyes, because if you do this motion right now in front of your face, you can totally see the motion blur in between your fingers. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like with the manual setting. So this is what it looks like with the manual settings. As you can see, you can't really see anything. So the settings that I'm using right now is 4K 30. For the shutter speed, it has to be double that. So I'm using 160. And this is when ND filter plays a big part, because if I take it off and put the ND filter on, this is actually the maximum ND filter I could find. Now I don't look as bright. And if I wave my hand like this, you can definitely see the motion blur in between my fingers. This is exactly why some people do prefer the combination of manual settings and ND filter together instead of the auto settings. But let me know what you guys think. I hope I explained this clear enough. The downside, it's the screwing mechanism. The process of attaching the ND filter is you have to unscrew the clear lens cap first and then swap it for the ND filter, test it, apply it, and then reverse the process when you're done. Definitely not ideal for spontaneous run and gun vlogging, but if you're planning a specific shoot or want that intentional cinematic look, the difference in your footage is genuinely noticeable. And if that sounds like how you shoot, then it's worth having. Now, my honest take, after using this camera for a while, I feel like the Go 3S auto settings already do a decent job in managing the exposure. I know the compromise is in the motion blur. It might look a little bit unnatural, but it's actually such a minor thing that I feel like not a lot of people would really notice it in the video. So most of the time, I just go along with the auto settings. Now, here's the accessory that's absolutely crucial if you vlog outdoors. I would argue anytime that the Go 3S has one of the best, if not the best, internal microphones for a camera this size. But when you're shooting outside, wind noise is definitely inevitable, especially here in Melbourne where the wind can be pretty intense. The wind muff works to filter out those harsh noises in the environment before they reach the microphone. I have both the third-party version and also the Insta360 version, and the difference is actually kind of dramatic. The Insta360 version is significantly denser, wider, and thicker. Let me show you the difference with quick audio test using a fan. Okay, I have my fan here and I'm gonna turn it on to see how well the microphone handles the wind noise without using any wind muff. So this is how it sounds like using the fan on. Let me know what you guys think. Does it sound noisy enough? Can you still hear my voice? And also, what if I'm moving the fan around like this? Can you still hear my voice? I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, let's move on to the third-party wind muff. So this is how I sound like with the fan turned on using the third-party wind muff. Do I sound better? Compare it without using any wind muff at all. And how about if I move the fan around like this? Can you still hear my voice? Can you still hear me clearly? Oh my goodness. Alright, that's enough. Okay, right now I'm recording using the Insta360 wind muff. How does it sound, guys? Do you think you can tell the difference between without the wind muff, with the third-party wind muff, and with the Insta360 wind muff? Let me know which one sounds the best. And here is when I'm hovering the fan all over the place. Tell me if you can still hear me, or if you can't hear me. I hope my explanation makes sense. I also want to clarify something. Before testing the wind muff, I thought the only downside of using wind muff is that it's gonna be semi-permanent, because once you put it on, you can't peel it off. But turns out I was wrong. Well, not really, because the one that you actually can't peel off is the third-party wind muff. Right now, I'm using the Insta360 wind muff, and let me show you. I can peel it off easy, and it doesn't leave any residue at all, which is amazing. Even though personally for me, I will not take it on and off, because wind muff does play a huge role for the audio for me, so I don't mind leaving it on 24/7 on my camera. But especially if you have your camera in white color, putting a wind muff which is black color can be quite contrasting and not as low-key. So now if you're using the Insta360 wind muff, you can just peel it right off, but just make sure that you keep the transparent plastic to keep it dust-free. It comes in a multi-pack of 4. You can always swap it to a new one, but why throw it away if you can still reuse it, right? So get this one. This is so worth it. This quick reader was actually a birthday gift, and it's one of those accessories that doesn't feel essential until you really needed it. This is essentially an attachment that lets you transfer footage to your phone, your iPad, or your computer without Wi-Fi or cables. You can also use it to charge the standalone camera, and most importantly, you can offload the footage from your camera to an SD card using the slot at the bottom. So if you accidentally bought the Go 3S in 60GB and regretted it, this is the easiest upgrade you can make. Even with my 128GB version, I still want more storage. This is incredibly handy when you're traveling or when you're recording heavily, since you can offload footage at any time without worrying about running out of memory or even carrying your heavy computers with you. And if you have a power bank, you can charge the standalone camera simultaneously as you transfer the files. This little thing is multifunctional and it's absolutely brilliant. These two accessories fall into the same category as the quick reader for me. They're not really essential for day-to-day vlogging, but there are specific moments where you will be absolutely thankful if you have these two things. Let's start with the battery pack. Now, before I explain why the battery pack might be an important accessory, I need to address how the camera and the pod works with the Go 3S. The standalone camera functions as the recorder, and the pod is there to control the settings, to see what you're recording, to play back the footage, and also to charge the camera. How? You just dock the camera in and it will charge it automatically. Unfortunately, you can't pick and choose when you want to charge it or not to charge it. Whenever the camera is in the pod, it's just gonna automatically charge. Now, the problem with this, since the pod keep continuously charging the standalone camera, now I often run out of the pod battery more than the camera itself. But without the pod, the camera is nearly useless. Well, yes, you can technically still record without the pod, but you'll have no visibility. And the other alternative screen for the Go 3S is using your phone, but without the pod, you also can't connect it to your phone. So now, preserving the pod's battery becomes more important to me. This battery pack only works with the standalone camera, which is perfect when you're using it constantly. So by putting it there instead of in the pod, you'll have a way longer recording time and you preserve the pod battery at the same time. Now, this safety cord is for those active days. Let's say you want to go biking, bouldering, skateboarding, surfing, snowboarding, you name it. Anything involving vigorous movement, make this essential. They have both black and white version of this, and it pairs perfectly with the magnetic pendant. Basically, you just attach the silicone piece to the camera body and tie the cord to the pendant strap. So if for some reasons the camera get knocked out of the pendant, your camera gonna stay close by instead of disappearing forever. Okay, that's a wrap, guys. That is my complete breakdown of the accessories that make my vlogging with the Insta360 GO 3S more seamless and genuinely fun. To quickly recap my approach with this camera, I use this mainly for its size and its portability, so I focus on accessories that make it even more versatile and help me capture perspective that no other camera can achieve. And knowing everything that I know now, if I could go back, this is what I do differently. I'd probably still get the standard bundle, and then I'll add the Flexi Mount and also the wind muff. This exact setup would be my non-negotiable for daily vlogging. And if I want to go on a trip or an adventure, only then I'll add the pivot clip, the safety cord, and also the quick reader. Maybe the battery pack if I'm really pushing it. And just to show you how compact this all is, if I bring all the accessory that matters most to me, I can fit everything in this small camera pouch and into my sling bag, or I can even dump everything into my small chain purse and still fit my phone in there too, no problem. Alright, I'm not gonna hold you for any longer, but here's my most important piece of advice, especially for my fellow shy introvert creators. You literally don't need a ton of gear to make content. Just start with what you have, add 1 or 2 accessories that you're definitely going to use, and just go create something you're proud of. The magic isn't in having all the gear. It's in finally feeling comfortable enough to press record and just share your unique perspective with the world, no matter what they say. Once again, thank you Insta360 for working with me on this video. All the accessory links are gonna be down below, and don't forget, the first 10 people that are using my code, they're gonna get 10% off discount and also an extra free accessory. And if you haven't seen my full comparison video between the Go 3S and the Pocket 3, I'll link it on my end screen. Let me know in the comments which accessories that is your most favorite or the one that you're curious to try. I read every comment and always try to reply to all of you guys, so definitely keep the conversation going. I'd really love to know if my fellow shy introvert creators are here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one.